During the course of the last 33 years, the Cartel Rally has gone under a variety of titles and produced an equal variety of world-class winners. It's always been run in the Yorkshire forests, providing a traditional winter opener to the British Championship season. And it's always been run by the Yorkshire-based De Lacy Motor Club, who take on the planning and the organisation, assembling the 2,500 volunteers required to make the two-day event run smoothly and safely. And they know they're going to have to cope with a variety of weather, sometimes snow, but usually it's the slippery Yorkshire mud. Pentti Ricola, the RAC Rally winner, and a man who's had such success on the event over the years, was a disappointing absentee as the crews assembled for the Bradford start. But there were still the familiar names to generate the interest. David Llewellyn, the reigning British champion for Toyota. Malcolm Wilson, Britain's top-ranked driver, now welcomed at Ford after his close-season move from Vauxhall. Wilson would have a Ford Sapphire Cosworth for an event that he has a definite liking for, one in which he's tasted victory, and that was 5 years ago in the Audi Quattro.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. It was 1985. Yeah, I'd like to repeat the same success. It wouldn't be too bad. It would be a nice start to the year. But I'm very pleased with the car. We've been up tested this for a day in Scotland, and I found a few improvements in the driver as the day progressed. So I think, you know, the first half of the rally I'll still really be learning the car.
Russell Brooks would have a four-wheel drive Sierra Cosworth, grateful for the extra grip and indeed the lack of snow and ice, because this was Russell Brooks 3 years ago, tackling Rickledale on this event and finding himself a little short of traction. Onboard cameras would once again try and expose the embarrassments on this year's event. Two of them, one in Hakan Eriksson's Peugeot, the other in Dave Metcalf's very nimble Vauxhall Nova.
We've got to have bends to get the advantage out of this car. It's a superb car in the bends and on the braking, and just on the long straights we just haven't got the top speed. But preferred it to be a little bit slippery, to be honest. Takes the power advantage away from the bigger cars if it's really wet and slippery. But as long as we get it nicely into the top 10, we'll be quite pleased.
No prospect, surely, of the Nova challenging the front runners like Llewellyn's Toyota, which was straight into the lead on the opening spectator stages ahead of the Forest to come. The first stage is the Esholt Sewage Works, Malcolm Wilson carrying the number 1 that denotes his position as Britain's only A-seeded World Championship driver. Lancia was Finland's Saku Virma, who'd be very prominent in the opening sections. For Ford, this is Russell Brooks, who put together a very late deal to compete in Yorkshire. And this is the Italian Franco Cunico, who competed well on last year's RAC. Also in a Ford, Colin McRae of Scotland, son of former champion Jimmy McRae. Unfamiliar machinery for another former champion, Mark Lovell, in a showroom-class Volkswagen Golf. Competing in the same class as Lovell is Gwyndaf Evans, who proved himself a very popular winner in the Ulster Rally last year. Now we're on board with Hakan Eriksson, clipping the wall in the Peugeot. And the onboard cameras would provide some lively action over the opening stages. Eriksson in the Peugeot 309 GTI. The other camera, remember, was with Dave Metcalf, who was enjoying showing off the agility of the Nova. But sometimes even agility can't get you out of trouble. Metcalf extricating himself from the bank while co-driver Ian Grindrod tries to get the paperwork back in order. No real harm done. But the amateur footage shot by a spectator here shows the full nature of the mistake. And if the dry stone wall had been any closer, Metcalf, Grindrod and the Nova would have been out of the event. But their really big moment of drama was still to come. Also for Vauxhall, Chris Bergbeck's privately entered Astra, which would give a good class battle to Hakan Eriksson's Peugeot. However, Birkbeck's reading of the route was sometimes a little erratic. The marker tapes here providing only a temporary barrier for the Astra. We can see that same section from Håkan Eriksson's point of view in the Peugeot. And you can see that with decisions needing to be made in split seconds, route markings can sometimes present a rather confusing picture. Dave Metcalf pressing on in the Nova, a little bit battered after the earlier excursion, but no less committed.
Right. Sit. Hold straight. Here. Junction square left. Okay, all straight. Okay, that's it.
Into the forest, where Malcolm Wilson in second place was really struggling to hold on to Llewellyn's Toyota, which had moved well over a minute ahead. Behind Wilson, Colin McRae was having a very good trouble-free run. At this point in the rally, he looked the class of the Ford Challenge. But it was hard to take your eyes off Dave Metcalf. Disaster seemingly always around the next corner, except that on stage 6, it was.
Keep it going. Easy right. 150. Oh, oh.
The rally driver's optimism off the road, deep in the trees, hit the starter and slam it in reverse, but there was no rescuing the Nova. Right behind our second onboard camera with Eriksson, and you'll just see Metcalf well off the road on the right. Look at it once more to see the Nova right up on the bank. And after that, the car was airborne. Grindrod's notes fly across the cockpit. The helmets show the force of the impact. It was always on the cards. On to calmer things. The works Skoda of John Haugland, perennial visitor to the championship. Skoda perennial class winners on the Lombard RAC. The Favourite going well until apparent electrical problems. Mark Lovell wasn't too happy in the Golf. Brake problems, gearbox problems, clutch problems. In the end, an accident for Lovell would put paid to all the frustrations. But up front, it was still the Toyota of Llewellyn, chased by the two Fords of Malcolm Wilson and Colin McRae. Hanging on in fourth and surviving a couple of spins in the very treacherous conditions, the Lancia of Finland's Viiramaa. Gwyndaf Evans leading the Group N showroom category. Franco Cunico in sixth for Italy, but definitely not enjoying the particular character of the Yorkshire forests. Behind them, this eager battle in the 2-litre class. Chris Birkbeck, seventh in the Astra, just ahead of Håkan Eriksson's Peugeot. As darkness fell, the service area at Thirsk, and dramas for David Llewellyn, who'd arrived with barely a minute's lead over Malcolm Wilson.